Welcome to A Fistful of Lenses, the home of real-world lens reviews. In this video, we'll be taking a closer look at the zeiss Jena pancolar 50mm f1.8 lens. This is the early radioactive zebra version. The optical construction is 6 elements in 4 groups. In this early version, the lens was constructed with 8 aperture blades. It has an impressive close focus of just 35 cm and a 49mm filter thread. The lens has a reputation for sharpness when shot wide open, and also for the beautiful quality of the bokeh. But is it overrated? Can this old East German optic from 1965 really be that good? Let's find out together. Firstly, let's get a better understanding of what the world was like in 1965 by taking a trip together down memory lane. In 1965, Muhammad Ali shocked the world by defeating the formidable Sonny Liston in 1 round. Liverpool win the FA Cup for the first time, and a brand new E-Type Jaguar would cost you £1,867. Also in the news, notorious hardman Knuckles McTavish was buried. Mourners showed their respect with 3 minutes of violence. Meanwhile, across Europe and East Germany, Zeiss brought out the pancolar 50mm f1.8 lens in M42 and exacta mount. This lens has gained a huge following amongst vintage lens collectors, said by many to be the sharpest 50mm vintage lens while shot at f1.8, and held in very high regard for the quality of his bokeh. So I'm eager to try out this legendary vintage lens for myself. As always, the images and the video will be unedited, straight out of camera, so that we can see clearly the character, strengths and the weaknesses of this old classic. I'll be using the Canon 5D Mark III, the Sony A7R Mark III and the Fuji X-T1. Is there any noticeable difference in the way the different sensors interact with this lens? Well, let's get started and find out. So let's turn off those TVs, put down our books, lace up our boots, and let's get out there and do some real world photography. As we look at some black and whites taken with the lens, let's give just a little more information about the legend that is Carl Zeiss. Carl Zeiss the man was an optician who started the company in 1846. And by World War I, it was the largest camera production company in the world. So by the time this lens was produced, Zeiss was already a company with over 100 years of history. And he certainly knew a thing or two about optics. The lens produces beautiful black and whites with a full tonal range, deep, rich blacks and clean, crisp whites. It's hard to believe that these are unedited JPEGs from a lens that's almost 60 years old. And what about those Zeiss colours? Here's where the story gets a little more complex. This is a radioactive lens that has yellowed over time. Easy to cure, but I've left mine as is. My reasoning for this being that I can cure the lens at any time, but once cured, there's no going back. Besides, that unique look that took 60 years to develop is something I plan to use to accentuate the autumn colours later on in the year. And what about the bokeh of this lens? Well, it's simply stunning. It can produce images that look like paintings rather than photographs, with dabs of colour. Images where the out of focus areas seem to bleed into one another, giving a background that adds to the overall feel rather than distracts in any way. No doubt this is in part helped by the 8 aperture blades, but there's something else I can't quite quantify. A certain beauty to the images that lifts a scene from a mere record of what you're seeing to a work of art. Is it that aging thorium in the glass? I'm not sure, but I'm certainly looking forward to using this lens more in the future. The other strength of the lens is its sharpness. When you nail focus, it is impressively sharp, even when shot wide open at f1.8. So what's my conclusions about this 60-year-old radioactive lens from the Eastern Bloc? Well, it's a lens with a reputation as being an outstanding vintage optic, and I feel it's well deserving of that reputation. It has that beautiful bokeh, excellent sharpness even when shot wide open at f1.8, and a certain something to the images that is hard to quantify, giving a subtle beauty to your photography. I would be interested to see if a cured version of this lens is an improvement or not. It would probably be just subtly different. But as it is, this lens can give a unique look to your photography, and I'm sure with a bit of practice, the strengths and character of this lens can be exploited to the maximum. If you get a chance, pick up a copy, as these are becoming scarce, especially in good working order. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and ring that bell. And then who knows, you might see me out there in the real world, snapping away happily with a fist full of lenses. Until next time, bye for now.